Hello, hello, mystical, magical, beautiful, amazing beings. This is AlluraMystique, the creatrix of Realm of the Mystic, and I am coming to you guys. I'm going to try to keep this short actually because I'm just in a between sessions and just wanted to come on and talk a little bit about deities and, gods, goddesses, divine beings, however you refer to them, as I know that is very individualistic. So, first, I want to say I do utilize the terms very interchangeably. I do use gods and goddesses and entity and beings and what that really refers to, what that means for me when I make those references is referring to a energetic being, okay, that has ascended to a place of mastery, divinity, sovereignty. And so it's not, when I utilize those terms, it is not at all about worship. It's not from a like Abrahamic religion or systematic point of view of God that is this omnipotent, more powerful presence than I am, so to speak. It's more about their elevation, their ascension, and like I said, their divinity and their sovereignty. And so when you hear me utilize those terms, I want you to just be clear on what I'm referencing as, and to state very, very clearly that I do not worship any entity or being. So I do partner and I believe in working with, and I'm going to get into that a little bit more, but it's a partnership. I do not see any of these beings as energies that are more important than me, that are more powerful than me, that are someone that I should worship and seek power outside of myself for anything. I do also want to state that outside of working with these divine beings, as you guys probably know, I'm a big supporter and advocate of ancestral work. And so, primarily, who and what I've worked with initially on my path, although these energies have always been present, first is what I refer to as my oversoul. Some may refer to that as higher self or whatever way you do, but oversoul is the truest, purest aspect of my energetic being from a spirit creation or original point of existence. And so that is me, not something outside of me. That is me, but it is the most ascended and elevated aspects or parts of me that as I reawaken in this embodiment and incarnation, that I am beginning to embody more, that I'm channeling, that I'm connecting to, that is I'm reawakening and realigning with my oversoul as it being the most highest, purest aspects of me, is the being, so to speak, that I trust no matter what, because that is me. And from that spirit perspective, there is nothing that my oversoul will do or direct me to that's not within, not beneficial for my highest good, for my awakening, for my ascension, etc. Outside of that, of course, I work with the ancestors. The ancestors are within me, of course, as they are parts of me. I am them. However, even with working with my ancestors, I'm very clear that I do not worship them either. I do seek guidance and support and wisdom and knowledge from my ancestors, both physical and spiritual, from the deities that also are on my spirit team, my spirit guides. But I do not ask them for permission. I do not ask to be granted things, as I am the goddess, right? The God of my life. And my whole purpose, above all things else, is to and was to reawaken to my place of divinity and sovereignty. Everything else is an extension flowing from that. When it comes to whatever work that I'm going to do, when it comes to like my magic and all these different things, my primary focus and goal for me with shifting onto this path and was about my sovereignty and my divinity and remembering and reawakening all that is within me. So just wanted to kind of put that out there just to be clear as you'll hear me kind of reference these different terms. And I am not, and I want to say this because I know as I go into this, those who are in a system this may be oppositional to, may come across as offensive to some, which is not my intention. And if you are in the system, I completely respect that. The traditions, the practices, the history. I find it to be beautiful, but it's just not for me with where I am in my journey. And so, but some of the things that I say may seem opposite to or contrary to systematic beliefs. And so what I would say to that is, I respect you, please respect me, and that's it. Again, this is not to be disrespectful at all, and to know that I completely respect and honor, your choices and your decisions and what's in alignment for you, and just ask for the same in return. So with that said, let's get into it a little bit. So the biggest thing when I talked about goddesses, right, and gods and those divine beings, is that place of coming into sovereignty and divinity. And so what does that mean, right? So you've probably heard terms like ascended master as well. And while some of these energies that we do refer to as God or goddesses or deities and this, that, and the third actually were once individuals who walked and who lived and who embodied on this planet. Some came back through reincarnation or incarnation. Some actually were born here and ascended, whatever that may look like. But the ascension process is reaching your highest level of vibration, frequency, and being at a space where you are operating from oneness with source, oneness with the multiverse, oneness with others who also are sharing an experience. Does not mean that they're not individuals, they don't have their unique properties and all these different things, but there's this alignment with true spirit. And when I talk about source as well, or the primordial, that's actually what I refer to as the Most High, to be honest, the end all be all that is and will ever be, so to speak. The universe, well, actually multiverse, because we know it's not just singular, is a unfolding of the primordial. It is the manifestation, so to speak, of the primordial. But the primordial is where all things begin, are, and will end, if there's a such thing as ending, so to speak. So that's kind of, what that is. And so these are things that you can also, of course, I always recommend to do your own research, because as you research things, there's going to be certain pieces that resonate with you and certain things that don't. There's going to be things that I say that resonate with you and certain things that don't. This is not about me wanting you to think like I think or believe what I believe, but me just sharing my experiences. And and like it's chew the meat, spit out the bones, right? That's saying. So take what is beneficial for you and roll with it. That's how I've operated throughout my journey. It's very rare that I come across a mentor, a guide, or a teacher that I am in 100% alignment with every single thing they say. It does not mean that I can't find value in what they're teaching, or there aren't things that do actually benefit me and that align with me and that resonate with me. And when I find those things, they typically spark and ignites something within me, and then I go from there on my own journey, whether that's through research, whether that's through meditation, sitting with myself, my oversoul, my ancestors, my spirit team, etc., etc. So let's get into a little bit of the fun stuff. So the deities. I again, one disclaimer I'm going to say, not coming from an approach at all of worshiping. There is not, I do not operate from a space of a bended knee. I do not advocate for that. I can say I understand those who do, and I do feel there is a space for that for certain individuals. To be divine and to be sovereign is not an easy process. It's not something that happens overnight. To completely admit to yourself and to declare and decree with the universe that you are canceling contracts, that you are completely in control of your existence, of your life, of your being, and that every single thing is a reflection back on you is not always the easiest thing to do. And what that means is you are saying to the universe that I am totally and 100% accountable for my life, for my being, for my existence, for everything as a sovereign and divine being. And so when you reach a place of sovereignty and you claim that for your life, there are so many levels to that. We'll come back and I'll do a different video on that, because I want to talk about the deities and I can go into a whole thing with that. But okay, so there's different things. Like some people, when you talk to them, they feel like these energies are just that, they're energies, right? It's just a vibration, it's an energy. So let's just say there is a goddess of love or a god of war that is not actually a being that existed or walked or incarnated or embodied, but more so a representation of that vibration, of that frequency, of that thing that is in existence. There's other pantheons that support that, these deities are representations of nature. And so everything that's within nature is found within these stories or these energies, and that's actually what they are. Again, not so much that they are an actual being, an embodiment, and incarnate, etc. There's also, I've heard, of course, the perspective of these are characteristics and vibrations and frequencies and things that we all have within us. And again, they are representations of those things. And then you have those who do say, yeah, no, these are actual walking, talking, living, maybe not in the same way that we do as far as having a physical body in this realm, but beings, okay? And so I come from the perspective of a little bit of a combination of all of that, because I do believe that we do hold, because we are one, right, with the all. So everything that these energies represent is something that is within us. I do believe that they are, a lot of them represent aspects of nature and the universe and the cosmos. I also do believe, based upon my own experiences, that these still are beings who have their own individual motivations, their own experiments, their own embodiments, their own past lives, their own purposes. These are actual beings that can take physical form and shape and be very much present with us and to guide us, as well as a lot of these energies do come back in physical form as reincarnations. So some of you are reincarnated gods and goddesses, okay? Some you are avatars of a god and goddess, which basically means you're not the reincarnation, but you were sent here or chose to come here as a representation of that being. There are some energies who've never been here before, and they're coming here for the first time through a body. And then there's some who are both. They're here with reincarnations, they have avatars here, but they also still are very much an energetic being and operating through the veil, so to speak, right? So that's kind of, where I fall. And like I said, I've had my own personal experiences with these energies. And so with that, I've come to the resolution at this time, or the resolve, that there isn't one singular answer. I'm not saying that I'm right and you're wrong, But more so than not, it's all of these things. It's not one or the other. You know, we have a tendency in this dimension, in this realm, to be very divisive with our thinking. It's black or white, it's this or that, when the reality of it is way more gray than that. You know, there's two sides to every coin, so to speak, and there really is. So that's and again, some of my experiences. I work with quite a few energies, and when I say work with, that's from a place of partnership, from relationship. Again, not worship. I do honor them, I do revere them, I do offer a shea, I do give offerings, you know, because as we know, everything is energy and everything takes energetic value. It has a currency and a frequency and a vibration. And so if I want to divine, to commune, to connect with, there's energy that's needed for that. And if I am coming to an energy with a petition, so to speak, if you want to call it that, to assist and support me, I'm giving them something in return, as the law of reciprocity states, right? So that's where offerings and different things come in. A lot of times time is a great offering, and they all have their own individual things that, you know, is out there listed for a lot of them. But my number one suggestion is, if you are working with outside energies, is to know yourself, to come from a place of being confident, being secure in your power. So if you approach an energy from a place of, I am submissive, I am lesser than you, you are more powerful than me, then that could be how, in some cases, that the relationship is developing, you're treated. That happens with humans as well, right? So it's nothing to necessarily fear, but it's just something to think about as you approach these energies or work with these energies, or as they approach you. Because to be honest, I have plenty of energies around me. I don't think that I've actually approached many first. Most of the time it's been the energy approaches me, and I even am open to the connection. Sometimes I'm like, not at this time. Sorry. Not sorry. No, there's times where I am open to the connection, but I just don't have the time yet. And so it's like, okay, thank you. I feel you. I see you. I hear you. I got you. I would love the opportunity to work with you, connect with you, but just hasn't happened yet. I don't actually can't think of a one that I've just like, ooh, somebody mentioned this energy. Let me just go and research out to them and see. But it happens, and there's nothing wrong with that either. It's just about being being protective, which is something that you should do in your life daily, every day, and with people, right? So it's not about fear. Fear-based is not the way to approach these energies. From a place of fear, from a place of submission, okay? So that's that piece. So with that, as I shared in my video yesterday, I have launched my metaphysical shop. So I'm not sure what happened. I think it cut off or it froze or something. So I'm going to jump back in. I kind of, said that I lost my train of thoughts, but it'll come back. Spirit will have it come back to me, whatever is meant to be shared. I believe what I was talking about was the launch of my new business, my metaphysical boutique, which is Enchanted Dezires. And I guess this is a shameless plug, but it actually is very relevant to the topic, and I have a reason for why I'm bringing this up. So I wanted to bring it up though, just because I posted on yesterday, and I've actually, since I've been posting about it, I've had some questions and comments about energies and working with deities and different things. And so I wanted to explain a little bit about the products very quickly, but it's also very much related to what we're discussing. So I have the Enchantment of a Goddess Vibrational Conjure Mist, and also have elements of the Divine Masculine Vibrational Conjure Mist, along with a lot of other products as well, and more to come. So what I want to say about that is, every product that I create and enchant, or as I call them, enchantments, are actually from the deity or energy themselves. I actually haven't personally, that I can think of, commissioned any energy, so to speak. It's always been, I do tend to attract a lot of energies, so And I know why, knowing kind of who I am from the, from like a oversoul perspective or spirit perspective. But these are, and I never thought I would have a product line. That is something that came to me from my ancestors, from spirit, from these energies. It was not something that I thought I would do. Okay, so each product does have herbs and essential oils and crystals, but they're not just things that I chose from researching them or because they tend to resonate with them. They, from a standpoint of research or common associations, it's items that was given to me from each energy. Some of the herbs I have never even used or heard of before, so it definitely, like I said, comes from that particular source. As well as each item has channeled energy directly from the deity entity being themselves. And so that's why I say these products, enchantments, are very much to be used with your own purposed intent. They are created as such, so they can be used to conjure, to call the energy of them forward themselves, whether that is because you want to evoke them, bring them into your space for guidance, or to work with or connect with them, whether you want to invoke, which are two different things. Okay, evocation is kind of like calling them up to let's sit and talk. It's like you invite your girlfriend over. Invocation is like, no, I'm actually calling you forward into me, where you're actually allowing that presence within your body. There's also the aspect to them where you can use them from offerings, like if you have an altar space or sacred space or workings in your rituals, as well as just bringing that vibration and essence to your environment and to your aura as well. So, for example, I'm going to use Oshun because she loves to be talked about, she loves to be shared. With that, with her being like associated with love, right, and sweet waters, and I completely get it because she definitely has this energy that's very just it's loving. It's hard to be around her energy and not love her in some way, even if it's you have problems with that energy. It's more so because it's some self internal work that's with that, but she in the very sweetness. So let's say you just want to bring that essence to your atmosphere, into your vibration, and even to your aura. You want to infuse your aura with the vibration of love. You want to walk into your space or into your home and have this vibration of love and of sweetness, or add that to your manifestations, your rituals, your workings. It can be used in that way without actually calling her forth herself, or it can be used to connect with her directly as well. And that's for all of the products, again, because all of the enchantments that I have are those that I work with. I don't know if it went and cut off, if I went down a list, but I'll kind of mention them really quickly so you'll know. So we have the enchantment of the goddess and the elements of the divine masculine. It's the elements of Damballa, the elements of Obatala, the elements of Ogun, and the element of Shango. And then with our goddess line, I'm just going to name the goddesses because it's a lot of them, and there's more to come with both of these. We have Isis, Bastet, Hathor, Oshun, Urzuli Freda, Lakshmi, Yemaya, Medusa, Lilith, Mama Wata. I knew I was forgetting. I'm like, it's somebody that I was like, who was I? Mama Wata. So, and I love her as well. And so I believe that should be everyone. But there's some that's to come soon because they're actually charging. And I have a few oils for Damballa, I have an oil, as well as a Conjure Altar Rice. And Medusa, I have an oil. And Urzuli Freda, I have an oil. The rest of them are strictly the vibrational Conjure Mist for right now. And then the specialty blends are actually blends that are infused with different compatible energies. So like the enchantment of love is using different entities and beings that I work with to infuse with their essence and energy, as well as energies like of Venus itself channeled into that spray and into that mist. So, and our sentiments of serenity is more like a smudge spray. If you think about that, it's like smudging, but using a spray, again, using some really powerful compatible energies that is good for clearing and for cleansing. And then I have my Sleeping Beauty spray, which uses as well multiple energies, including moon water. and the elements of the moon, as well as some deities that are great for beauty, for protection, while we dream and dream enhancement and crossing the veil and all that great stuff. So anyway, that's a little plug, but it's relevant because I want to explain to you guys how you can utilize those. And if you have any questions about any of the energies, feel free to leave a comment, and so I'll know if you want me to come back and specifically talk about any of them individually, because I plan on doing that. But if there's some that has interest, and I can do those first and share some messages from them. These are not all the energies that I've worked with, but they are some of the ones who have partnered with me and commissioned me to create these enchantments. So when I talk about partnering with them and working with them, while money manifesting is a big thing that comes up, and don't get me wrong, I'm like money, okay? There's nothing wrong with wanting and desiring money and with manifesting that. And so I have worked with some of these energies, and of course my ancestors as well, in partnership to manifest trips, like luxury amazing trips, money in emergency situations, or just money that I needed for different things, a car, which is like a fabulous car if I must say so myself, and different things. And also fabulous because it was a gift, and well, gift as far as like I know I manifested that thing. So for me, that's proof of power as well. But more importantly, what it's been for me is manifesting myself. It's been working with them on my journey to gain deeper esoteric occult knowledge and wisdom for protection, as I also learn and journey and do things such as astral travel and crossing the veil, and learning how to work through my mediumship or other skills that I have, and gifts that I have, with remembering who I am from past lives, and doing energy healings and healing on myself and with my bloodline, to connect with my spiritual ancestors, because we do have, a lot of you guys are star seeds as well, which means Earth is not your birthplace. You didn't originate here. And some of you are older than these energies that we're talking about and that people worship and revere. So if you think about that, that's so funny. And so some of you have spiritual ancestral ties to some of these energies. And so when you start to call forth your ancestors, you can call forth those that are beneficial for you, physical and spiritual. And you'll be amazed at some of the connections that you have, even with elementals, from mermaids to dragons to fairies to sirens. Can't remember the name of the horse with the wings, that that thing as well. Gargoyles and unicorns. Actually, I have a funny story with the unicorns. And these are all energies that I've connected with some way or the other, whether it's in passing, because sometimes energies do pop in like, hey, what's up, who are you? And I'm like, who are you? And then we go about our business. And there's other times where they're part of my team and we work closely with each other. So some of these energies I work with more than others. It's not, again, it's the partnership. Like I said, I honor them, I revere them, I give them libations, I give them a share, I give them offerings, because this is a relationship, and our relationship should be mutually beneficial and reciprocal. Law of reciprocity, and everything has an energetic value. But I do not work with them as far as asking for permission. I do not work with them for them to tell me what to do. I seek guidance and support from my spirit team, including my ancestors. But ultimately, as being the sovereign being, the divine being, the goddess that I am, I make the choices that are beneficial and that feel intuitively in alignment for myself. And if it's something that later didn't work out the way I thought it was, then I take that as a lesson. It's a lesson for me in my journey. There was something that I gained from that. And more importantly, I listened and I followed my own intuition and myself. And so that's how I work with these energies. They're so multifaceted. When talking about the systems, like I said, I'm not initiated within one system. I'm not working with one system. What I'm just going to say about that is, when you begin to work with these energies, or if you are working with them, some of the top things I'm going to say, and I may have said this before I cut off, is to come from a place free of fear. Do not approach really have fear-based living is not authentic true living, okay? So you can be cautious, you can be wise. That's different than fear. Fear meaning you are submissive and you're giving them power and dominion over you, okay? So there's no bended knee in that perspective. Also, just to be open to personal experiences, because they all have their own attributes and personalities and things just like we do, and it can be very much different. My experience with Yemaya or Oya or Oshun or Hathor can be very much different than your experience with them because of who I am and who you are. We are all unique fragments and expressions of source, of the Most High, of all the primordial, and so it's not going to be one size fits all. And it's just, if you think about it, that's how it could be in our friendships as well, right? Like there's certain, you can have multiple friend groups and you're the same but also different with them. So, you know, I think it's good to utilize the research out there as guides, but not to be so boxed in and so programmed that you aren't connecting with them authentically. Trust me, they will let you know one way or the other how they want to work with you, why they want to work with you, the offerings, the colors, the things that are unique to you with them in developing that relationship and partnership. And so that was one of the biggest things I wanted to express as well, because it comes up a lot when I'm dealing with and communing with these energies, is just the individual experiences and just being open-minded and understanding that a lot of these stories that are out there, some of them are stories with some basis of truth. A lot of them actually are stories there for you to see the hidden occult significant meaning, utilizing your third eye. The Bible is very much like that as well. When you look at it from a metaphysical perspective, it's completely different than looking at it from a programmed perspective. And so same thing with a lot of the stories that are out there as well. Even when you, like I say, when you get into their offerings and different things, and also, got it, like they're chatty. Wanted me okay. They evolve. They grow, they change, they ascend, they evolve just as we do. So sometimes systems based that are very traditional can become antiquated, that they don't evolve the same, they don't evolve as much. And so what some of the messaging that's coming through now, these energies are saying to share, is also to understand that they do evolve, they do ascend, they aren't stuck in a box. A lot of them are older than a lot of these systems. They predate these systems, okay? So they are not bound to just these systems. Now, if you tend to work with them from a systematic standpoint and perspective, they usually will approach you and work with you from that because that's your choice, okay? That's how you choose to operate. However, you can still work with from a spiritual freedom aspect. And so, again, that's going to conflict with some people. I'm just sharing my experiences, my perspective I have not had any challenges, problems, negative experiences, anything like that, that I will share with you from coming from an open perspective. Actually, and I'll share this, some of the first energies to approach me very clearly were some that are considered, the Orishas from Ifa or like from Santeria and things like that. And I, at the beginning of my journey, was like, ooh, I don't know, because people are saying you need to be initiating to do this, you need to do that. I was kind of seeing it, but it didn't feel right. I kind of was like, I'm not really going to go full speed ahead, but these energies are coming to me, so what's up? And then, it was, well, you got to talk to a Bible loud or coming to you so you can be initiating to a system. And I still was like, no, system is just not where I'm at. It's not feeling right. But these energies are very, very persistent. And then finally it was like, talk to us, okay? Talk to us and we'll let you know what we're here for. And so I was like, you're right. Let's sit down and communicate and figure out. And this is some of the things they're telling me, like, the relationship that we have with you is from ABC. It is this. It has nothing to do with this particular system. If you choose to get initiated, choose to work with, that's great, that's fine. But we are here. We're part of your team. We want to work with you. We want to guide. And again, these energies most of them love to talk, love to share. It's not, there's some that a little bit harder, but for a lot of them are open. If you're open, they're open, because there's been this shift of disconnect, right, where especially with going with the Abrahamic religions, and so they are open and loving the fact that so many of us are shifting to back to some of the traditional pantheons or just ways of the universe, even outside of a system, and aligning more with our ancestral and ancient teachings. So that was a very clear message that they want to share it right now. So know that they will bow. For example, like I'll share this, like, there's this thing with Oshun and Oya, right? That you can't have them on the same altar space. They don't get along. And the way they came to me was very much, very closely together. And at times I saw them together and I was like, well, everything for me is not coming across that way. That's just not the energy that I'm feeling. That's not how they're presenting. I've worked with them together multiple times. Now, I do not have them on the same altar space presently. And this is the reason why. Because while they can be, it's up to, I don't have them on the same space presently because while they are not beefing with each other, this is from them, they do operate very differently. Oya is, the Risha of the marketplace. She's a medium. She is very great at learning about the veil and mediumship and business, all about change, transformation, right? She will shake ish up, okay? She's a little bit more assertive and aggressive to a certain degree from a certain standpoint. Oshun is very sweet, loving, but also has her temper side. That's very much fiery as well, and protection. But the way they move is differently. Oshun is definitely a master witch, like to learn herbs, learn witchcraft, whatever, however you want to term that. That's your girl. Like, she's a master witch, and so their approach is very different. So let me give you an example. Let's just say there's a woman, right, who is standing, whatever, protecting, whatever. So look at Oya as the one that, she's just gonna, you wanna fight? We can fight. We going toe to toe. Whether it's her husband, her friend, we got this. She up in that thing. She ready. Oshun, they look at her as the one who, okay, I'm going to slowly, precisely, and maybe not as outwardly defend myself. That kind of how their approaches are very different. So I have them on different spaces because their approaches can be opposite. And so for me, that can be a little confusing at times, but it's not, but I do work with them together. And something they share with me very much, that's the beef. They're like, we're not beef. This is my sister. And let's just even say if we ever did have a beef, again, that is so old and outdated. How long ago would that have been? Okay, that was the words from them. So this is the kind of stuff that I'm saying as far as being open to individual experiences with them, and being very mindful of the stories that you hear. Lilith is one that if you research, there's she's called all types of things, from demon to succubus to everything, right? Because of what she represents, and her story is very detailed. And so I could spend a whole video itself on her or on them individually. But again, one that once I connected to her, you really find that she's the embodiment of the divine feminine. She doesn't only work with women, she works with men as well, because we both possess masculine and feminine energies. But she's all about freedom. She's about liberation. She is about the divine feminine rising. And so again, this is why I say when you connect with them individually for your own self, you'll have these personal experiences. And there's nothing that anyone can say to me because of my own personal experiences that I've had with them. I'll share one quick story, and then that's all I'm going to say about, so I don't get off track. And so to cut this short, cut this off because it got kind of long, is, for example, Oshun is one that I love her dearly, but we battled a bit. Like, we had some tiffs. We don't really have spats now. We don't. But it took us a minute to settle into each other. She wasn't going. She was around. She wasn't necessarily going anywhere. I didn't dismiss her because I have dismissed energies that I was like, no, okay, got to know you. No, I'm good. Thank you. I dismiss you in gratitude and in love. Be about your business. Go out your way. And it was no harm, no foul, right? That's just like dating. It is what it is. But because she's very much a diva, and I have my ways as well, it was this, I want this, I'm gonna be, and it was just like, oh, there's only one queen in this castle, boo. So we had a little bit of that challenge initially, which was funny looking back at it now. But she's also one that was very, very I don't want to say vocal, but one that I can hear very vividly, one that is very concise on what she wants. Like, I can literally, like, she literally be like, I want this. Okay, I hear you. There's times where she's directed me to play something on television, like she wanted to watch the show, wanted us to watch the show. And in one particular occasion, I was falling asleep on the show, and she literally kept nudging me awake. I could feel her energy nudge me awake, like, wake up, wake up. I woke up, fall back asleep, wake up, fall back asleep. And so finally she hit me, but not in like an aggressive way, more than that hit you like wake up kind of way. So I woke up, I sat up, and I watched. I'm like, okay, I'm watching this show. I could hear her laugh, I could feel her energy. And it was like, once the show went off, it was a great, it was whatever. And these are kind of experiences that will sound crazy to some people, but they're real experiences. And this is why I say these are individuals and beings of their own. They're not only in this box of just aspects of nature, not only just aspects within us. They are those things, but they are actually beings, energetic beings of their own, energy and energetic signatures and energy as well. So she's very, I can share a lot more with her, but that was just to share a personalized experience that I've had with energy. I could go on and on and on, but I'm not. So I just wanted to, like I say, drop this one to talk to you about working with energies. Like I said, I'm a big advocate, right, of doing ancestral work, working with your ancestors first, or working with them primarily before going into beings. One, it also, like I said, because you want to come from a place of power, so to also be confident while you're working with these energies. And so if you are not as confident, I suggest working and calling forth those beneficial ancestors, those in alignment with your highest and greatest good. Always oversoul, highest self, number one, hands down. That is you. Okay, so if nothing else, work with yourself, because that is you. And then with going into some of these energies, calling forth those who are also your spiritual ancestors, and those who you chose and who chose to be a part of your spirit team with you in this embodiment, which means they came here to be your guides and to assist and to walk with you. And then there's other energies that may not have chosen to, from that perspective, as being your guide appointed, but they're still open to work with you because there is an alignment there. And so those are the ways to approach, again, not from bended knee, from authority, from confidence, but from reciprocity. And so that's going to be the message. I'm going to end it here today. I hope this was very helpful and informational for some of you who have been questioning and thinking about working with energies. As always, my hope for you, the energy I send to you, is for you to have the most magical, mystical day and experiences and awakenings and reawakenings for you. And I will be back to talk to you very soon. Bye.